Addiction thinks in circles, whereas invention thinks in spirals.
Yes. Yes.
And I love it. And spiral is not one dot, it's actually one seed becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I'm grateful for that. And then, two, just the pain just reminding me like this body is so amazing.
Where else can you go other than inside? And when you're so almost like forced to face yourself, you find lots of love.
So Jinky 40.
On
Number
a
fours
solar eclipse.
on the solar eclipse.
Big deal today. Shutting off, letting go, everything that no longer is supposed to be with us. Massive deal.
Yeah.
And I have Jinky 40.
Where do you have it?
Evolution, partnered with 37, which is life work.
Right. Evolution.
One of those where I have to take a rest. And obviously, I needed more sleep last night. Otherwise, my magic won't come through the way it needs to come through. Dang it. I was reading it and I was like, I thought I'm doing great, but anyway. Well, what do you think about this one?
It doesn't really strike me strongly. It doesn't like come through with a lot of force or energy. So I thought the city was very interesting.
The paradox.
Yeah, which we can get into later, but yeah, I'm curious because you and Aisha have this, and I'm curious how it shows up. Is the shadow something that you're still dealing with, or is it not really a part of your experience anymore?
Well, I read this key over and over again. And admittedly, every time I read it, I highlighted different things. And I think it's like almost like flowing and growing and evolving through it. And it's just a flow from up to down. Like you, paradox seems very home to me nowadays.
Yeah.
And the shadow of exhaustion, I can speak on the differences, how I feel when I am doing what I should not be doing, but not because I said so, rather than because it doesn't feel good. And when I'm forcing myself into it. And when I originally read this key, it kind of freaked me out because at the end, it speaks that the major bodily disease, cancer and other diseases, are very much this key is very much the reason why these exist in our bodies. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, I know I will die, but I don't want to die that fast. And I don't want to die because of the disease. I want to die because it's time to go, not
Yeah.
because I self destructed myself through these chemicals and amino acids, where I'm actually doing myself a disservice by forcing myself to do and be something that I naturally am not. And I think in the last couple of years, and I don't know, it probably has to do with I can't help but not to think in astrological terms when it comes to this. It's like understanding myself and who I am is coming to a forefront, to actually accept myself. And when I say accept myself, I mean, wow, the more I know of me, the more I am comfortable with being that person or that possibility or that energy. And the more I act in accordance to it, the less I feel tension and the more energy I have. And
Mm.
it's very, it's very, very distinct. And it's becoming more, I'm becoming more aware of it. And this is like a year's worth of, I know exactly when I'm in a wrong place. Like this shows up at work a lot in a corporate world when I'm eating dinners with people that I could care less for. And then
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that my body and my guts start producing this acid and my stomach just swells like that. And I can't, I have to unbutton my shirt. And I was like, I need to get out of here. No joke, Eric. Do you know how many times it happened in my current job? Over and
That's
over
awesome.
again. And I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to be here. And when that realization kicks in, I remember I was in Peru. Was it Peru? And I think it was like my birthday. My birthday with coworkers from Lima. And I'm sitting there and everybody is literally taking pictures while I'm blowing up this candle, whatever, the fire. And and as happy as I'm supposed to be because gosh,
Mm.
everybody's celebrating my birthday. I couldn't breathe because I wasn't gassy. I didn't want to go to the bathroom. I didn't have a physiological need, but I was in a wrong place doing the wrong thing with the wrong people. It's like, what am I doing here?
Mm.
Like I'm not supposed to be here. And I'm sitting out there laughing and I'm like dying actually inside. So I know exactly when that happens and I'm aware that my body actually reacts to it very, very physiologically. So I like this key, and it's also scary for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you always have a lot of energy. At least that's my experience of you.
Yeah.
Um, but for as long as I've known you, it seemed like natural energy. It seemed like not faked or forced. But was there, you said the last few years. So what was like the pivotal point? Was it just like a slow realization over time of, okay, this is wrong place, wrong time. I need to find a different situation. Um, or is it even in like how you talk or how you show up? Like how
Discover.
did you first notice it, and then what did you do to kind of correct?
Well, um, I started decoding myself and
Mm-hmm.
psychoanalyzing myself. And this started, I think, like 7, 8 years ago when I would go home to visit and I would come back crying
Mm-hmm.
because I had so much expectations of them. Yet I'm coming, I who changed in a different culture, different, they don't even know who I am and how I live. And yet they didn't. And I expect them to meet me at that level and I feel alone. So all of this
Mm-hmm.
self analysis. So where is this coming from? What is this pain telling me? Why am I actually crying? Why am I always cursing them, saying I will never come back again? It's my family. But this self analysis started very much when I started wondering about myself, like why? When I asked myself, and through my father's death, I started analyzing the psychology of the mind and how that can affect your will and your soul and your desire to be here. And then, you know, practices the deep inner work and also these explorative selves. But it was all a question about me. Astrology opened it up so much because it's very easy for me to read your chart. It's really hard for me to read mine for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I started wondering why. And then I realized it's because I have so much that I am afraid of to step into. Because, like I can see the bigness in you, but to see the
Mm-hmm.
bigness in me is a different sense and feeling. And since I started owning it and being taking responsibility for it bits by bits, this is where I started noticing, wow, the feeling and the sense of it when I am doing my chart or doing my keys or doing my genes, my code, my puzzles, but really doing it. Like there's a difference. And there's a difference. And yeah, I like to break the rules and I like to not, and it's hard to accept that, but breaking the rules, it's breaking someone else's rules, actually doing my own. my own way. And there's a clear distinction in the body where I do your rules and it doesn't feel good for me. And when I do my rules and it feels great for me because energy just flows out and I have endless amounts because I'm following this. And the more I learn about it, the more I learn about myself, the more I learn about how it feels, the
Mm-hmm.
bigger it becomes and it's unstoppable
Mm-hmm.
to me. Yesterday I had the event and I danced. I danced and I danced and I danced. I was manic about dancing. And I had so many people come in to tell me that exact thing, what you said. It's like your energy is just like sucking me in. I want to talk to you. I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want to talk about? Boom, here is the life. How are we going to solve it? I was like, well, there's many ways we can solve it. It's something inside of that changes and switches when you almost like live your chart or your
Mm-hmm.
melody and you sing your song, nobody else's song.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
But you witnessed me in the wrong environment.
How so?
You did. I mean, you saw my energy depleted.
Mm.
And a recent, I mean, you saw my energy change when I'm in a different environment where I'm kind of like really struggling to do
Yeah.
it the right way rather than doing it what needs to be done. So I'm like, you saw me, you
Yeah.
witnessed me.
Yeah. I'm sure it's different than seeing you in a corporate setting where you're like really drained by it and stomach acids moving and all that stuff. Yeah. So,
How, mm.
oh, what was your question?
And how do you, because you seem to now have an issue with getting vampired sucked out by energies around you. It just seems it's very steady and safe. And when you're there, you're there. And how does this, do you see this in other people? This right, wrong? And how do you deal with this?
Well, I feel like I'm I feel like I maybe naturally was able to find my way throughout my life, but there's definitely been moments of like forcing a social situation that wasn't good for me, not feeling comfortable in that situation. And I've been noticing it more and more lately and been able to find my voice. And usually I'll speak to Carly about like, that's not for me. I'm not doing that. um, but what usually shows up for me is a sense of like, okay, I actually feel very small. I feel very un incapable, like my skills are not useful in this environment. And I actually feel like for example, just for an example, if I were to shoot a ball into like a trash can, it's this level of if I'm in alignment, that ball's going in. And if I'm in a space where I'm not supposed to be, I'm gonna miss terribly. I'm gonna feel really bad about it, and people are gonna notice and be like, "What's Eric doing here? Like, what? Why is this guy here?" Um, and actually, like this past couple weeks, I've been having like old memories come up of these kinds of situations where in one instance I went to a party and I was like, I don't know why I'm here. And the person that brought me to this party just kind of left after we walked in. And it was this feeling of just like isolated and I don't know how to connect with anyone. And all that to say, it's funny. Recently, I've been looking at, okay, I'm Aries ascendant. What does that mean? I had it flipped. I had my understanding flipped. I thought I thought being Pisces sun, that's how I show up to the world and that's largely who I am and for some reason, I don't it was just never was explained to me and I I've been piecing together astrology bit by bit as I go into it. But then looking at ascendant, I'm like, this Aries thing is interesting. Like this is, I actually resonate more with this energy. And I didn't, it's not something I want to admit because it's, what does it mean to be in that Aries energy? But the more I step into it, the more I'm like, I actually have a lot of power here. There's like mana, there's strength. I connect with my breath deeper, and it doesn't have to be combative or abrasive or challenging. I don't have to challenge people directly. I can just hold this energy of like, you're going to ask me first. We're going to establish boundaries around what's okay and what's not okay. Just holding that for me. And then all of a sudden I'm in any space and I just feel far more comfortable. So I don't
I
know
love
if
that.
I don't know if that's wrapping that all together or not, but
Yeah. Your Aries rising is pop to the world. This is how you popped out of your womb,
yeah.
which is so cool because you came to fight for something with so much
Yeah.
power. It's the initial, right? So it's like, and then you go it. And it's really cool. And how I see my ascendant, for example, it's like it's a tool to use to
Hmm.
speak inners out.
That's really cool. And what's your ascendant again?
Gemini. That's why I'm gifted with talk. I talk. And this is where it comes down to, oh, I understood. And I was told not to talk that much, of course. And, like, but my talk is not chit chat anymore.
Yeah.
My talks is my Pisces. My Pisces are coming out mystical deep. I cannot talk anymore surface based. It's superficial. There's no way. No
Yeah.
matter what, it's a neighbor that I meet on a daily walk, and I can't talk. How are you?
Mhm.
What do you have for lunch? And are
Yeah.
you good? I can't. Same way. It's like you when you suppress the energy, that pop energy, that fiery warrior. It's like you're getting things done. It's like you're almost like doing yourself disservice. This is why knowing that is so good. It's like,
Mhm.
when do I have time to read anyone else's chart when mine is big ass chart that I have to
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. There's so many layers to it.
So many good layers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny too because I lately I've kind of been using that Aries energy to protect the Pisces depth, where I'm
Mm.
like, I'm not going to engage.
Mm.
And it's just and I'm not saying it out loud. I'm not like putting a sign on my shirt or anything. I'm just holding that energy of like, if you want to talk to me, we're gonna go deep. And what
Mm.
happens is I have the freedom and relaxation to just be for the most part. And then when people do talk to me, they naturally they're like automatically going deep. I'm like, cool, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have a presence that is like strong,
Mm-hmm.
a strong presence when you walk in the room and you don't even have to try. You don't even have to try. That's how you came to the world to show that side of you to the world. But you're right. It's like, there's thank God for your dreamy eyes. Because you have your dreamy eyes, you have your beautiful, like your front stage, like your front, how do you say, like front page, your book cover is
Mm-hmm.
welcoming,
Yeah.
right? Though your covers are a really hard, thick,
Mm-hmm.
strong covers, and then inside is the Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
if and only if you're ready, because not everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can get there. Not everybody's meant to get there. But for
Mm-hmm.
those who are meant to get there, they are in for the ride, the deep
Mm-hmm.
ride. Another
Yeah.
way of saying big deal.
Big deal.
Big, deep deal.
Mm. Yeah. He talks here about like
Yeah.
forcing situations and getting yourself specifically with like a job. We People work in jobs with little or no resolve and for fees that are far too low. And the problem is that when you compromise and you don't have room for your spirit to breathe, the low frequency actually reinforces low self-esteem. And that phenomenon, it's just a never-ending spiral because you feel stuck and then you're not able to, like, in trying to force people to see you as bigger than the role, you
Mhm.
can't. Like, and it sets up more failures or more like lack of ability, and then you find yourself stuck in that situation. So
Mm.
I think you and I are beyond that point, but it's just interesting to reflect back on the many roles I've taken where that, I've compromised my own willpower in that setting.
I remember the time when I was, uh, welcome to Brokerage New Business. This is a customer service representative. My name is this and that. And I was like, I hated my life then. And it's like for good over a decade, I know how much I can serve. But now I'm actually at the point where I'm like, I am me and I can only do me. Even if me digs me grave in the corporate,
Yeah.
great. Because it's another portal for me to enter. And, like I can't do this anymore. And it's very interesting because I suffer. My heart and soul and spirit are literally going this way, and my legs are going that way, and I'm kind of like stretched in. I'm like cutting myself in two, and I'm like, you
Mm.
have to do this, and then but you want to do this, the other opposite. It's a struggle, and but it's a good struggle, I think, to realize that part of self, and also to realize how to work with it.
Mm.
Yeah, corporate jobs or slavery. I find this key is in a sign of Virgo, which is exactly the unhealthy side of the Virgo. When you serve, 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 and you serve so much that you overserve and you're losing yourself, you die. You are literally dying out.
Mm.
It is that shadowy. It's like you in service of others for nothing. For
Mm.
nothing. There's no growth, no inch of you that grows when you're totally servicing just because you want to be liked or whatever that there is behind it. So, just because you need to pay the bills to go even to extreme.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. The other day I went to work and I was like, well, whatever, TikTok here and there, this and that. But and the guys were like, we're sitting at the table. He's like, it's such a bad market. And I was like, don't lie. You're just assuming. Did you apply? Did you go to look at it? Don't lie. Why are you sharing something that you heard somewhere on internet?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bullshit. And he's like, no, that's true. And I was like, it's not true. And so what? Go work at Trader Joe's. And he goes, it's beneath me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're miserable here.
Right.
You're actually miserable.
Is it
You're so
actually beneath you?
unhappy and unhealthy. You're killing yourself. Go to the Trader Joe's. Go to the store.
Mm.
Be something else. Is beneath me. I was like, oh my God. And here I was like, okay, I can't eat with you guys anymore. Bye. Off I go.
Yeah.
I resign.
Well, it's funny because it's like it's beneath the idea of who you're supposed to be to the point where like people will kill themselves. That's why there's so
Yes.
many heart attacks and cancers and this sort of thing because
Yes.
you haven't given yourself space enough to find what's actually beneath you. Like you don't
Mm.
know.
True. And also, it comes with that trying. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But how do you know, I always ask this question throughout this entire series. It's like, how do you know that's true? How do you
Mm.
know your truth when you are not true to yourself? And how do you know something is true to you?
Yeah, and it comes back to direct experience. You just have to taste and see.
Yeah. And when the truth directly touches you, it's a different feeling, sense, or understanding. It
Mm.
touches you deeply. It actually shatters everything about you. You are in shock. You're surprised. It makes you cry. because it's
Mm.
realization of, oh my God, it's shocking. The truth is shocking to your
Yeah.
mind, shocking
Mm.
in a good way. I wanted to ask you this. So, in the last two, I think last two times, you said that you've been kind of hiding and a little bit isolating.
Mm.
And in this key, he talks about, the bad side of it and the good side of it, the solitude as the choice versus the isolation because it's so much fear going on. How do you understand these two states in humans, in you?
Oh, yeah, in humans, I don't know if that's a more difficult approach or if it's actually more difficult to look at my own situation, but I can only speak truth into what I experience, so I'll start there. But the difference between isolation and solitude, where one is like forced, it's almost like I need to like frame it first. Isolation would be like, yeah, help me frame this.
So, how did you feel in the last 2, 3 weeks? Where did you aim towards? More to choose to be alone and sit with yourself, or kind of calm down a little bit and relax and just feel yourself through it? Or were you like, no, I don't have, like, I can't get out. Like something inside of me is rejecting the entire world because I'm in this inner turmoil and I'm not a good place to be to the world. So where were you
Oh
on which
man.
spectrum?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird mix. Maybe in the middle, if there's a spectrum, where,
Mm.
and depending on the day too, but there was definitely like shadow aspects playing out where um I'm on YouTube and then I start watching like, okay, here's like a news type of thing, like a look at the news, and then it leads down the rabbit hole, and all of a sudden I've got all the news coming in, and then I'm just sitting here. Um, Carly's out with
Mhm.
the kids. I don't have a vehicle. My physical energy is stuck. I was also sick, so it was like the gut health leads to the mind health. Usually, when my gut health is not great, then I have a little more depression, but not like clinical depression or anything, but just everything is like depressed,
Depleted. Mm.
depleted, depressed. Yeah. Um, so in that space, it's like it's an unhealthy isolation, but it wasn't. But I was also recognizing like this isn't exactly by choice necessarily. I mean, there's always choices that I take in the spiral itself, but I'm also seeing how, okay, now that I'm here, once I get to the point of realization, now that I'm here, what do I do with it? And I was able to kind of just simmer in the sauces, so to speak. Just let it things surface when they needed to, and just try to observe the depths when I got there. And it was uncomfortable. It was like not the most fun thing in the world, but as part of the solitude, it was also a gift in a way. It's like, because when you're when I'm out and about, or we're running all over the island, I don't have time to go there. I can't. I mean, maybe it can happen on its own, but yeah, I chose to see it as a gift, and with the eclipse season, everything going on astrologically, I'm like, I think there's, as a Pisces, I think every time there's something catalyzing, I tend to have life events that push me into depth. And I'll find myself like, why is this happening again? Like, I thought I had figured this out. I thought I had solved my issues. I thought I wasn't going to get myself stuck again, but here I am on YouTube, sucking in all the news, pulling in all the stories, and finding myself feeling very anxious about the world and my place in it and where am I going? What's next? What am I going to do with my life and this time that we're in? So yeah, that's my recent experience of isolation.
Mm. I'll give you a different point of view and maybe add it to that big cake of yours. Just a little sprinkle on the top. So, you know
Cinnamon
how
cake.
so it's a liminal space. Exactly. And it's exact. I love that. I love that because it's not even there. It's not even, it's not back. It's not forward. It's like, but such a potent space to be in. Such a potent space if you know how to sit calmly with yourself. And I want to read to you something, and I think you're gonna understand. Is it this one? No, it's this one. I no longer close my books. I actually layer them like this.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this one, I just kind of stacked them up and I studied six of them at the same time. But all right, but you're gonna love this because it speaks exactly about absorption and a wave of absorbing to transmute it into love and compassion. Pisces. Pisces water sign, meaning, yes, I went through the same exact spiral of going down into that rabbit hole of news that I couldn't even stop.
Yeah.
And it made me so miserable. But
Yeah.
watch how we transmute this energy as Pisces rather than how some other sign will intellectualize it or go
Mm.
to fight for it or go and demonstrate against it or go and break the rules and do something about it. We actually transmute this as if we are absorbing it into our psyche, body, conscious, whatever that it is, and almost like taking it in, transforming it, and letting it out, but not letting it out as a reaction to the world, rather than transmute it into the compassionate love for others.
Mm.
Have you noticed
Mm.
this?
Yeah. I feel like you're giving me a little more credit than maybe. No, but like, yeah, on a base level, that's probably what's happening.
I mean, you can easily go there and punch, but you can also go to the gym and punch the bag, right? So
Yeah.
if there's a
Well, I don't do
difference,
either. Yeah, I don't do that.
you
I
should.
tend not to react.
Oh,
I'll just, yeah.
so, but can you try? Okay, let me ask you this. Can you transmute it into the creative?
Yeah, and that's what I was very aware of. I'm like this, anytime there's depth, I'm like, there's creativity on the other side. So what am I going to create? But then this is part of the spiral, I think, too, is like, then it showed up as pressure. Like I'm putting pressure on myself to figure out, okay, you need to be creative. Like, what are we doing? And then instead, I was like, I think actually I'm still descending and I need
Mm,
to fully descend instead of try to catch myself at a level and pull myself out when I'm not ready,
mhm,
because that can be even more dangerous, I think. But
mm. Yeah, and for Pisces, we need to keep going deeper and deeper. And the moment we stop is the moment we, what is it called? It's almost like a, oh gosh, how, it's not even stagnation. There's a perfect word for this.
like putrefaction, where we start to stink.
Spiritual stasis.
Oh, okay.
Spiritual stasis, as if your soul is just shrinking down to nothing, no longer to be.
Hmm.
So we can't afford that.
Yeah, I felt
Meaning,
that
if there's
before.
any rush for that, it's like if there's any rush, it's like the rush to evolve, no matter
Yeah.
what.
How do Quick question. How do
Mm,
you because you talked about Scorpio being like darkness, but then
mhm.
Pisces being depth. Are those How do those relate?
Okay.
Or do they?
I love when you ask me astrology questions. I love it. So, okay, think of it as Scorpio that is a pain underworld, and the pain that is part of our psyche as well. But they have the capacity to go deep down and never end it. Pisces is not, almost like Pisces, you're thinking of going deep into the ocean, which is actually representation of the light. So these two sit on a very large opposite of spectrums.
where Pisces no longer wants to deal with so much pain. It wants to push forward to the enlightenment. It's almost so light in its nature, unless it goes into the shadow. And it sees the unity of all, sees the wholeness of all of us. And it wants to show, to lead, to direct, to guide towards having fun in life, right? So being mystical, fairy tale-ish, making fairy tale of your life, right? So writing the poetry and stuff like that. The Scorpio is very deep of the transformation of the deep human processes and feelings. So the deeper they feel, to a point where they self-induct the pain in order to transform and become killers.
Mm.
We can't do, we don't have a natural tendency for that. We find escape into higher realms. We find escape into spirituality. They find escape into the depth of the underworlds. That you're talking a legit hell, the only sign that can descend so much into the underworld of hell of being human, and yet survive and bring right back up and have so much poison that can turn into the medicine.
Mm.
And Cancer in between can go sideways, camouflages, and absorbs the emotional energies of it. Meaning they can take so much emotion, which they're sensitive, but it turns them into the shyness. And what they do is they build a shell. And when they outgrow that shell, because it protects them, when they outgrow that shell, they have to shed off the shell, become so vulnerable and sensitive, and build a new shell, which is bigger to hold bigger emotions.
Mm.
So, and here I'm good. What I wanted to read is that unless we know, and we're talking here about that, unless we know, we learn and grow capacity to handle our states, our feelings, there's no evolution. Like we need to be able to sit with it. And you have layers through water signs how to sit with it, but you also have, you also have people that cannot connect to their own feelings and emotions. They reject them, they refuse them, they repel them against them, right? So it's like it's very uncomfortable to sit with emotions, but as water signs, we can. Watch this. Here's the heart of the matter. Inner work is inseparably bound to healing. Without immersing ourselves in a subjective interior realms, without feeling, actually, and without fantasy and dreaming and daydreaming, Pisces, no one can recover from anything. In fact, no one would even know what they needed to recover from. So, to find out who you are, you need to know what you're feeling. And you need to
Mm.
very much take every single card on the table for you in this life. And I don't know how else to do that other than self-analyzing and decoding, yourself through any type of tool that possibly you can put your hands on.
Yeah. Right. And also creativity. I think when you commit yourself to a creative act, you bravely show up in a way that you can kind of have a mirror. Like I think about like if I so I out of this depth recently that I've been in, I'm like, what's the creativity? What's the creativity? I'm like, I'm not gonna force it. And then it just came and it was like, oh, um, okay, I want to do like short form video, but I want it to be like highly creative, cinematic, less teachy, less like preachy teachy, and more of just showing like movement in my life, like me moving. So like I do all sorts of movement things. I just haven't thought about including them because when I look at what I've created so far, everything's very stagnant. I'm in my office, stagnant. I'm sitting, very stagnant, and I'm just projecting. And I'm like something about it isn't resonating as like I can't quite access the
Mhm.
depth in it. And also it's not challenging to me creatively anymore. It's just kind of like easy. So in this like vision of what I can create, I have all of these, dreams about what it can be, but also I'm sensing like the minute I create something and I put it out there, I now have a mirror I can look at and have a reflection for me to look at and say, now is this truth or is this am I still like in some kind of fantasy land? Am I moving closer? Am I moving further away? But ultimately, like, you know, because I'm attempting, I'm moving into it. I'm moving deeper into the
Yeah.
evolution, whatever is coming. So,
Yeah. And I love how you said, because that creative wants evolution in her own or his own
mm-hmm.
sense, right? Its own sense. It's like, yeah. And I think the creative force pushes you to uncomfort, to change.
Mm-hmm.
And to change is to constantly produce. But if you're constantly producing because you're rushed and you
Yeah.
have a timeline for the production company to launch the book and your heart is not there, it's like you're actually totally going against it rather than trying different things. I love when things change because it shows your own evolution. You're absolutely right. You and I on this podcast 2 years later, totally different people.
Mm-hmm.
But we tried and we pushed and we tried and we pushed. And I find it is like there's one thing that we need to find, and this is what I'm finding, to be very clear on what is anchoring this like
Yeah.
flowy
Mm-hmm.
state of creation. What is anchoring? And that anchor is the note,
Yeah.
blueprint note melody, out of which the entire symphony comes in and has a different melody instruments, right? So that anchor is not clear. It's never clear. It becomes clear the more you try to find it.
Right. Mm-hmm. The
And
more
that's the,
you work with it.
yeah. So to become I mean, to find you have this desire, you had it for a while to create, to be creative
Mm-hmm.
in a visual format, and the video, the photography, something related to it. So your funnel is kind of shrinking in to find that anchor, which is so beautiful to process and to witness.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting closer. It's almost like warm, not
Yeah.
yet, cold, warm, cold, warm. It's a cool
Yeah.
discovery.
It's almost like I'm on a boat and the anchor's in the water. I don't know. It's like I need to know where the anchor is so I can like have it. Um,
Yeah.
but I need to go in like 360 to
Yes.
find, okay, that's where the anchor is specifically. So like any attempt at creativity is almost like journeying out, and then I'm seeing where the rope gets tight. Okay, that's my anchor.
Hmm. And to do one thing again and again and again for 15 years, it's like killing it. Like you
Oh yeah, I
can't,
mean, it didn't even. It's
you
like,
know,
wow, did I make
you
it six
can't.
months? Barely.
Yeah.
I was like, something's got to change. This is too much.
And
Um,
also it's also showing your capacity to handle discomfort into unknown.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Let's be
liminal.
honest, everybody wants certainty, but when you have so much uncertainty and you still trust that, which you
Hmm.
are uncertain of, you must be crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how many stories come up in because in order for me to get to this point, I had to stop. It would have been really easy for me to film, you know, 7 videos a week. I just sit and I kind of just go through the scripts, put them out. Like, okay, I'm still creating. It's not gonna. I think there's some element of like in doing that, it almost betrays the discomfort. And so then I'm not able to be like, well, what's coming up? Because, oh, I'm still doing my short form video. But I just stopped. I'm like, I just don't want to do it. And I was confusing at first because I thought it was like, oh, I'm being lazy because I was trying to pursue a more creative style in the content that I was creating. I was like, going to use the whiteboard and draw stuff on it and then, have different scenes. But it just, in looking back, I'm like, it just wasn't resonating. That's not the method I want to use to present myself or my work or what I'm doing or also like engage with the world. Like I don't want that piece to go viral and to have 1,000 comments that would respond to that style. I want the virality to be around something far different and
Hmm.
like intrigue people into like there's depth here, like what's coming up, what like can we get into that? And that's a tough question I ask is as a create when you're creating anything, it's like if we often fantasize that everything we create will do amazingly well, or we catastrophize them and say no one's going to read it anyway, so I'm just going to do it. But it's like you often miss the potential magic that's there by going extreme on one end or the other instead of just saying like say this does moderately well, is it something that you want to do a book signing for? Or are you, is it some part of you going to be like, oh, I half-assed it, or I didn't put my full heart in it? So,
Yeah. And in all this questioning and analysis and how this, how that, how frustrating and how pleasurable at the same time when you enter your own field of truthness and uniqueness that you get to offer and you start discovering this and this frustration comes in and fires your ass and to notice the difference in your energy, how much you wanna create it and how the plethora of energies and colors of it, and you're angry and you're pissed and you're
yeah.
manic and like you don't know what to do, you pace, you have this. It's very different for
Mm-hmm.
energy that self-produces and doubles, like almost like compounds itself so much that you don't know what to do with this. And you're pinching because you can't believe that you just tapped into your creative force. Or okay, I like to even depersonalize it and say, oh, she visited, she's here, she's here, she's here, I need to do something with it, with her,
Mm-hmm.
and she joined me and she chose me. Oh my god, I feel special because I feel this energy through my body. And it's very different. And you know what I noticed is that it shows up. Here's where I get mad at her energy. It shows up when I have so much to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And literally, it shows up to tease me and to say, I'm testing you, what you're going to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pissed. The other day, and I will tell you, I created entire storefront on my website. And I was literally getting ready. And I was getting ready. I had this like feeling of not only writing, the program came, another program came. I was like, okay, let me try to put this. I created this brand new website page with 16 different programs that I want to do. And all of them came at once. And I was like, oh my God, I have to write this down, but I have to go get ready. And I was like, I need to step away from this chair. And I would step away, go take a shower. The thought kept coming back and she just
Mm-hmm.
comes in, chop, 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 chop. I had to get out of the shower and put it on the paper because I knew that she's here temporarily, that she's just visiting
Yeah.
me for this morning. You're talking morning at 5 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And she just destroyed me inside. And I paced and I was just like, oh my God, I was excited. I was scared. I attached to her. I didn't want her to leave. And I was like, okay, don't think about it. Write it. I wrote with the hand. I wrote, I typed. I went, brushed my teeth. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this, 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 this. She just
Yeah.
kept popping this exploration. In the meantime, my work is calling. They're on fire. Everything is crushing down. Here's another part. Everybody's blaming me for something I didn't do. Now I have to show up on the meetings that I didn't show up to. Fun.
Mm-hmm.
And my boss's boss comes in and says, I need you urgently right now. So everything is pressing the slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she comes in right then, enters into you and says, but no, now you have a choice. Know the energy difference and figure it out. And out of that, something magical happened because I chose me.
Yeah.
And I was
So
like,
did
all
you
of
get
this can
fired?
burn down.
So did you get fired?
No, but I chose. And it's the clear distinction. I didn't get fired. I went there and I was laughing because it no longer is important. It
Yeah. You
becomes something.
detached. Yeah.
Yes, it becomes something once you figure out that part of you and who you are becoming slowly with this energy that just comes and visits, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's magnificent and
It's literally meant to push your boundary. And that what he's saying is that that's what gives you that energy a lot more than making you exhausted.
Mm. Yeah.
But you need to learn about it. You need to know the language and how you react to it, and you need to honor it. And how do you honor it when you have a list of to do things, especially if you have children, if you have family obligation, and especially if you're a breadwinner in the house or a father who has this programming that has to contribute, be, and do. So it's like, it's tough to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you have to say on all this?
Well, I want to say well done. Good job. And when was this? Was this just a couple days ago?
Mm-hmm.
So after you got it all down, you wrote it down. How does it feel now?
I love it. I want to post it, but it's not enough. It's not done. And I know, and here's another thing. It's like, I know it's the beginning stages. And that's where it brings me down to my knees of humbleness to know that it's
Mm.
not even perfected yet, that
Mm.
I'm willing to stand behind it, even if it's not so great and so perfect. And even if no one finds the value in it, I do.
Yeah. Well, you've like faced the fear of, yeah, what if this doesn't work out? What if this is not quite
Yeah.
resonant yet? What if, yeah.
And you know how we texted, we need to do something with this and put it in a packet? And
Mm-hmm.
this is where that came from because, well, yes, we don't know what. Okay, let me rephrase it back. So I didn't know what it was. I allowed
Mm.
it to show me. And what he actually showed me is not the packet that I will sell.
Yeah.
It's actually the heart of Pisces that comes out through the
The gift.
communication.
Mm.
Do you see? So it's the art of who you deeply are on your soul level that comes out through Aries
Mm.
rising to push you towards it.
Yeah.
And this quality is found when you're willing to play with it. And he
Yeah.
actually, yeah. And to to seek immediately to monetize it, is she's gonna run away.
Yeah. It just pushes it further out.
Yes.
You can never grasp it. Yeah.
Yes. And how I feel now, I feel a huge step into the leap, my next leap.
Mm-hmm.
It is profound. And the more I follow it, the more I trust it into the unknown because I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how to create this space. I'm learning about it, what it needs, what it wants, when. Is it morning? Is it night? Is it Saturday? Do I need really to be in a pressure cooker in order for her to show up and tease me? And,
Mm.
why are you doing it that way? Are you serious? Like, does it have to be now? Yeah. And if she
Yeah.
says, I honor and I go for it because it feels evolutionary.
Yeah. Speaking of
Yes.
your evolution. So let's tap into yeah, I feel like you're saying it without saying it. A sense of relaxation.
Mm.
Right. It's like as much as people who know you and experience you, Melita, we see how much energy you have. I think it comes from a place of deep relaxation. You're like, no.
Yeah. I mean, define. Define. It must be totally something different than what we think of.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, that's a good point. It's all could it be mental, physical, spiritual, energetic? Like how do you look at yourself? Like when do you feel relaxed and when do you feel um what would be the opposite for you? What would be like define those states?
Okay. And when I think of relaxation, the deep relaxation, it's exactly the sense of solitude. I'm my own self right here, right now, being anything I ever want to.
Mm.
And if I feel like laying upside down, doing stretches, sitting and doing nothing, my time for me is absolutely necessary for me. and I take it and I claim it and I need it and I will hold it forever. Why? Because out of that time in solitude where I can simply just be, sit in silence, learn, study, self-analyze, think, feel, I show up differently to the world. And I show up with a lot more energy.
Mm.
But I'm able to feel myself, whatever that it is. If I say something, if I aim for something, if I write something, if I go into the world for something, if I move, I can't do it unless my base of solitude, time, solo, me and me is fulfilled. And sometimes this takes 5 minutes, sometimes 7 hours.
Yeah.
And it's never the same. It's always different. And I think that puts me in a state of physical, physiological, and psychological relaxation to handle the world that comes in without reacting to it as if the same way like it's giving me what it's showing me, right? So relaxation to me means solitude.
Yeah.
I'm on my own, sitting in my own, and I'm feeling myself. And
Yeah. And you
whatever this
said,
shows, yeah.
sorry. And you said, it never, it never shows up the same way twice. Like you can never capture it. You're just kind of settling into where, you know, it's almost like this is a chair I sit in, right? And your body or whatever is like, let's try to lay on the floor over there. Let's put our feet up on the wall. Let's go upside down, like you said. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's key almost to me in looking at how you approach it. And it for you, it's like you've developed the ability to do this easily. So you speak about it in a very easy way. But for like most people wouldn't think to explore a place of solitude, like you know what I mean? Like exploring a place of solitude, like
Mm-hmm.
showing up with without an idea of how it's supposed to look. Because even in rest, we all kind of programmed ourselves to have a picture of what that looks like and how it's supposed to be. And that's why most people they get on the couch and they put the TV on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, are you sure that's restful for your system, or are you truly relaxing, or are you distracting and running and escaping from what your body, what your spirit actually needs in this moment? So,
Yeah, and you see, that happens when you see someone else doing it and you think it's your way too.
yeah.
And we don't get to play with our own creative to discover our own way because we think out of the mind and we think we saw it, that's the structure, I'm going to do it. 8 to 5, and the system really supports it fully. 8 to 5, going doing groceries, stopping by for your haircut
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's like because everybody else is doing it. But no, if you challenge it, and God bless you if you have a rebellious side and energy that goes and says
Yeah.
not that way, you really have to have this signature inside that shows up to challenge everything around you. And
Or
I think I'm
question it. Yeah.
question
Question
it.
it. Yeah.
Yes, question, especially nowadays. Question everything that you hear,
Yeah.
even what we're talking about. And it comes down to that space: is do you have space to open
Mm-hmm.
and enter,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
or are you just so rigid? Mm.
I think in that space too, um, we're kind of talking about programming and the ways that we're programmed. And even like Carly has this thing where she's like, I don't really want to watch any movie or show that isn't rom-com or romance. And I'm like, I love you. I think that's beautiful, but I want you to be very careful because she'll she'll come away with patterns that I'm like, hold on, this wasn't how we talked to each other 3 days ago. I was like, "What movie did you watch?" And then I'll go and peek at the movie, and I'm like, "I just want you to be aware that yes, horror movies easily program you to fear, and yes, war action movies easily program you to violence and to reactivity, but also in romance, it's programming the way that we love, the way that we approach love, the way that we talk to another person, how we relate to ourselves in that space. It's like there's so much programming there. So when you part of the solitude, I think, and it's interesting that you just you just know that it's in solitude is that you're able to deprogram. You're able to
Mhm.
like decondition yourself from all of the inputs. It's not to say that the inputs are bad. You just need space to separate truth from your reality, from your experience. And again, going back to the only truth that we know is our direct experience of what these things mean, of our feelings, of our emotions, of our ideas and mental states, and where we're at.
Yeah, I love that. And it made me think this deprogramming is like rather than additional programming from your environment, it's like deprogramming can, it reminded me of, I can't remember who was the writer who said that, but, or an author. And I heard it a long time ago. And it says, I have a thinking room where I just go into the chambers of my thinking room. It's a
Mm-hmm.
room he enters into and he sits all day. And all day of thinking. And even if there's no word that comes out on the paper, he still did a lot of work, a lot more than he would if he were to follow someone else's story or else's thinking or programming. So if we were to, I think of this like solitude ritual, right? It's almost like a chamber of feeling or chamber of thinking that absolutely is non-negotiable.
Mm.
It's like first I do this, then I go to work and I make money to survive. It's like it's absolutely necessary. Current season in life, right? So without it, I would show up very ugly to the world.
Yeah.
But the programming of it, it's like so key on point. It's like, I need to find how I feel and how I think
Yeah.
rather than what you just told me I need to do and feel and think. And this is very hard to do in partnerships unless you require and demand your own boundaries and say, like, I'm going to wake up at 5 in the morning if I have to, just to have 2 hours for myself. It's a
Mm-hmm.
rule, my rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You and your girls. Well, let me ask you this. Is it enough and how much time you need for solitude? And do you find it? Do you need it? Do you crave it? Do you want it?
um. Ooh. Okay, let's go one at a time. Ask me again.
Solitude and you. Do you need it? Do you want it? Is it enough for you? How much?
I definitely need solitude. Yeah, and do I want it? I definitely need it. There's times when I want it. There's times when I don't want it. Um, what? Yeah, what I'm getting right now is good. I'm getting enough. It's interesting because I think you and I have different relationships to solitude. Whereas, for me, it's like it's I don't know what you'd call it, but in having like emotional neglect, being isolated for most of my childhood. Not like physically isolated, just like the way I talk about my childhood is like, yeah, in a lot of ways I raised myself. you know, made my own food, did my own thing. I didn't have that many rules or boundaries. There wasn't a lot of like structure. I had a lot of freedom, which is beautiful, but also on the other side of that, I was alone. I had a lot of solitude to the point of like sick of solitude, actually getting
Mm.
sick from it. So in that sense, it's like, yes, I need it. I don't always want it. Actually, sometimes I run from it because it's like it can be very uncomfortable. Um, but it's extremely useful. And the only thing I'd be running from really is just the depth of whatever is emanating out of me. So it's like, what is it that I would be running from? Just something that I haven't fully processed or been able to look at. And in that sense, it's like a healthy dose. But of
Mm.
course, medicine can become poison when you take too much. At least that's
Mm.
my view. Yeah.
And do you find a different Eric when you're in solitude? The different parts of you that just pop up to your awareness.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Um, I'm learning to like it. And
Nice.
in yeah, I'm learning how. I'm learning how. I don't know how to like weave this in, but um just having conversation with a friend about we were at the public pool and we were swimming and there was a guy there who was maybe schizophrenic, maybe bipolar, and he was having like he was doing martial arts in the pool. He's like an adult, so like acting out in a childish way, but I was like this is play. This is beautiful. But then he's having full conversations like person A, person B. So he would talk as person A, then talk as person B, and then person A would have epiphany response, and it was like I'm watching it, experiencing it, and everyone else in the public space is like concerned or like
Mm.
uncomfortable. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this is beautiful and bizarre. Like, because in my mind, I'm like, take anyone that thinks that this is weird and let's see if you can even attempt to replicate what's happening here.
Mhm.
Not even close. Like, and so I was accessing the depth of it. And then, of course, he gets kicked out of the pool because someone complains, whatever. But I'm like seeing it and I'm like, this is, we often push out the weird in society. We push it out, we push it away, we bottle it, we medicate it, we put them in wheelchairs or in insane asylums. And it's sad because you and I both know like there's what can we
Yeah.
learn from it? What's available? Um and so in deep, deep solitude, it's, for anyone that's had a large dose of psychedelics, like there's this point of insanity that you reach. And of course, everyone talks about ego death, like it's like the new thing. Like that's, oh yeah, I had this ego death, and it's almost like a badge of honor. But what we don't put a badge of honor on is like you touched insanity as part of your ego death. Like, okay, I'm not coming back from this. And I don't know how I'm gonna I don't even, you start to lose the sense of who you were before, and you're not sure if you're ever going to get back to it. And then part of the ego death is like, at least for me, is like my children lost their father. What does that mean? And so, all this to say, just in reflecting about solitude, like the deepest aspects of solitude bring you to this place of total detachment. And it's almost like as we talk about finding your anchor in creativity, it's almost like the anchor is cut completely, or at least your vision of the anchor is like you no longer can sense that it's part of you or that you have it. And in that profound exploration, of course, you lose sight of it, you lose sense of it, but then somehow you wind up back on the boat with an anchor and all is well. So it's almost like, and maybe this is like Scorpio speaking, I don't know, but it's like in some depth where you go so deep that you lose it all, but then yeah, I don't know, really know where I'm going here, but just how these pieces are coming together. Um, and maybe you can see just in how I'm um, speaking on how you just asked about solitude and how all these things are coming up for me, how you can sense, like, for me, solitude is a very challenging thing to get into. It's not always like solace for me. I don't always feel a sense of peace. Sometimes it's like very disruptive, but
Mm.
but I honor it and appreciate it, and I see beauty in it, much like the person that's rejected from society just because they have a different relationship with self. It's just part of this human experience. So what do we make of it?
Mm. Wow. Beautiful. So beautiful.
Mm,
And you just kind of explained the psychedelic experience of being human without having a psychedelics.
yeah, it's
And
the most psychedelic thing.
to go and explore and find it. And also figure out what is it, understand it, absorb it, even if it's a fear of going crazy and going double the personality, showing up to the world and being. It's like, you see, so now we're headed to the divine will, divine mind, and divine power of understanding and being able to hold dualities of us and yet not know and not offer it to the gods experience rather than become total disbeliever in what is happening, total anti what you so far taught and believed deeply as a truth, for it just to poof in the air and make you even totally insane to be. And I don't know, I think that's very beautiful. And what you touched is just an exploration, sounded to me, exploration of your potential of going deeply and going deep into your own psyche of, but why am I so uncomfortable to be solitude? What is there? And the deeper you go, the more comfortable you become with your space, to take on the space, to be, yes, I'm here, and yes, I'm there. And
Mm,
yet, somewhere there behind it, there's this Eric, which is very unique and very sounds one note. It has its own blueprint and its own color. And yeah, it may be light, mysterious, mystical, fairy tale-ish Pisces, but yeah, it also that one is what is underneath it. That one is the frequency that you carry no matter what. That's how I understand it, your spirit, your soul frequency. Anyway, you can go and do the trauma work and you can go deep as possible into the pain and fear as Scorpio. But so, and or you can go up high and fly like a comet, really up high out there and eat at the table with gods and goddesses and feast on life and pleasures and compassion and kindness and everything else. But regardless of both sides of it, somewhere there's one note of you.
yeah.
And that note has both sides. And it's never wrong. It's always, it stays there
Mm-hmm.
with you, following you, becoming, helping you be you, holding you. That note, that unique to you note.
Yeah, somewhere in the DNA. Somewhere in the DNA.
Do you think it is the DNA in the end of the day? Or is it the signature of your spirit or soul?
Well, I think those are actually the same. I think
Soul and
that's
spirit.
No, DNA and spirit.
The DNA, biological DNA, or are you
Mhm.
talking about the spiritual DNA?
DNA and biological DNA is,
Oh.
I think it's like a, we don't talk about it, but cryptic messaging, like coding secret messages, right? It's like coding. So what's coded in reality? What's the code of reality is DNA. This
Mm.
messaging sequence, and how much of our DNA is considered junk DNA. And Richard
Mhm.
talks about this. I peeked ahead at 64 because it's part of the this codon ring, the ring of alchemy, and alchemy being Pisces.
Mhm.
64, he talks about some, I think in the city, this coming online of what's considered junk DNA will be revealed through the evolution of 55 of humanity itself when we start to have old, unused, unknown DNA come online. All of a sudden, gifts, abilities, and whatever else becomes available.
Wait, you're saying junk DNA becoming a gift?
Junk, like what's we label, it's been labeled as junk because
Oh,
it's doesn't have a use. It's like however
it's
much
actually
of our DNA, yeah, is just there. And we're
got
like,
it.
oh, and biologists will say, oh, it's just left over from the many stages of evolution that are no longer considered relevant to our current being, but you know,
Bullshit. It's all
potential
relevant.
potentially bullshit. Yeah. And we can't
Wow.
know until we experience it. But I think if you're sensitive to the changes that are occurring, then you're already having like subtle experiences that are confirming that things are not as they seem. Like when my children keep reading my mind.
Your kids?
Yeah.
You're like, stop reading my mind.
Yeah, there's yeah. At
Only
first
I
I'm like,
know.
"Oh." And then now there's like I'm like, "Okay." But it's actually encouraging me to like
Change your
let's
mind.
well, or just is what's in my mind true? Because that's all I can offer. Because if they're gonna read it anyway, I can't I can't just like block out the aspects of what I've experienced. If they're gonna see it anyway, but if they're gonna see it behind a closed door where I like swallowed the key and I'm like, don't look in there, and then it becomes a charged emotional thing. Versus, I'm like, of course there's shadows. If you're like for some reason, if you're called to see it, I have to detach as a parent and say it's at some point my children are going to experience the negative aspects or the darkness of what it means to be human. But if you're experiencing it through me or through the genetic passing it down from their father, how can I purify my vision of what like can I have pure vision of the light and the dark instead of
Mm.
clouded vision of either. So
So how can you?
I think I where I go is approaching. So let me just give the example. So if I were to visit you and I brought my kids with me and you haven't met them, and then I said to you, just so you know, he can read minds. He'll be reading your mind. And for you, you might be like, okay, cool. Hi, nice to meet you. And like just start engaging. For a lot of people, the initial reaction, they'll say that out loud, but then in their mind they'll go, wait, what don't I want this child to see? And then you'll go into that space. And when you go in that space, just knocking on each door and saying like, "Hey, is everything good here? Does anything need to be said? Does anything need to come up? Does anything like
Mm.
it's almost like if they're going to see it anyway, let me make sure that I'm not suppressing because the
Mm.
suppression causes issues. The suppression repression that can or the reactivity as we talk about in the shadows. That can be disruptive to the purity of what it means to be in this human form. And then that brings up all the opportunities for transmutation and alchemizing the energy that's either hidden or I put it away a long time ago. Yep.
Yeah. And it's
Eclipses.
almost like owning everything that it's in your head and also filtering out what's true, what's not. And if somebody's calling you out, somebody who can read your mind calls
Yeah.
you out on something, then how do you know? I don't know how else to ask this question. How do you own your truth? Because not everything in your mind is the truth of who you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what would you do?
I don't have any other tool than to feel
Yeah.
and out of that feeling react. Because if I'm trying to justify that that's not right, rather than just feel that that's not truly me, I don't have anywhere else to go other than here.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
I think you're pointing back to the practice of solitude as well, because you're going. It's like going in and is this okay? Is this true? Is this my experience? Is this resonating in my body, or does this feel like it's something else or someone else's?
And I love how he points out this exact paradox is that the more we sit with ourselves, the more we realize we are that what we try to find all our life and seek through enlightenment and spirituality called God, goddesses, the power, the energy. We are it. So there's no such thing other than
Mm-hmm.
the thing that is sitting in us, which by default denies the seeking.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And I am so not there because I still believe that there is something of other power that is bigger than me that kind of comes in and shuffles me inside or flows through me or offers me right so this. And I think I'm at the stage where I gift love as essence, creative as essence. I gift essence. Who am I? Rather than owning it as in a self-centered way and full of ego, this is me, look at me, I'm great. I'm now offering myself to the essence, which is depersonalizing it, depersonalizing my experience into something larger than me as a step two that I don't know how else because it feels much like true in the stage of evolution that all through me, from me, with me, about me, in me, out of me, comes in with the help of something that I cannot even comprehend. And that sits in the field where I can offer myself as an experience of love when I love something or someone else other than me in a depersonalized way, roomy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like no longer is the love coming from me only, it comes through me for you and for the world. But I think what Richard is speaking here is like even after that stage, there is another stage of realizing it's actually none of it outside of you rather than just you,
Mm-hmm.
which denies everything. The essence that sits outside of you, the God that sits outside of you, but it gives you this different unique perspective of how to absorb yourself and learn how to live it as you rather than live it as something that lives through you.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a bunch of words that didn't make sense. I just
No, I'm
I was like
tracking.
I know you are, but whoever is listening, I apologize. But this is how the essence speaks. You see how easy it is to not own it. And all this to say is that understanding one, me, myself, or yourself is really the whole point. Like, I think that all these roads, it's very hard to understand your potential and your capacity and your creative force and to own it on the top of everything and to be it, to become it and not offer it to anybody else or anything else around us.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that beautifully points back to that relaxation where the divine will is like
Yeah.
how you accept yourself. How deeply can you accept yourself?
Yeah.
And that's potentially like that's what accessing the depths is calling us to do is like, can you accept another layer? How deep can you go?
Yeah. And that's where we become limited with words
Mm-hmm.
and our minds can't really get there. But there's
Mm-hmm.
another layer. There must be the layer. I refuse to think it's all in the mind and what all I can intellectually understand, even through my higher mind self, rather than. And I also refuse to keep it in the body and the sense and feeling too. There's more.
Mm-hmm.
There must be more.
Mm-hmm. Are you so do you the two paths where let's call it a spectrum. So he says the negative approach, which is the 40th, which is like denial of higher power. Oh, you already said you're more of like the 37th where you think that there's some divine guiding force that shuffles you and organizes you. So you're more on that side of the spectrum
At the moment,
at the moment.
it helps me depersonalize my experience and make it big deal. And I think because I'm making it big deal and I don't assign myself as identity with it, right? So I don't identify myself with it. I'm just I just happen to be honored to have this much bigger than self thing come through me and
Mm.
propose the difference through me. I think it's easier for me to accept myself as large if I have
Yeah.
the entity having my back and entity or experience existence, essence, let's call it essence. But I'm learning through it how to feel big.
Mm. It's a tool
Makes
for expansion.
yes. And
Mm.
at the moment, I am allowing it to happen so it can show me my vastness, so I can accept it. Otherwise, I would be freaked out by it, and I would close off to it because
Yeah.
it's big.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, he says we have to drop both paths, but at the same time they're not untrue. They're not false. It's like there's truth in both sides, in both extremes.
Yeah,
Because like if we got into Blavatsky, we would see,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? It's like
yeah,
these are both true.
yeah. And that I think Osho as well goes and says only if you see both sides and both of them are true and right, then you totally get confused by saying even that it's right. It just is. Oh,
My gosh. So we have next week's shadow is fantasy, which you brought up early
ooh.
in this one. So interesting. And then speaking of
Oh yeah, this is that jinky coding 111000.
And then speaking of Osho, 64, which is part of this codon ring of alchemy, the shadow is confusion. So I wonder if when we read the 64th city, if it just feels like Osho, like it's illumination.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
We have a way to go. It's
Yeah.
24 more weeks.
Yeah. It's so
Well,
interesting. reflecting on our journey, I'm like, okay, 40. We're in the 40s. Then there's always a sense of like, but what about 50s? You know, I'm always like
Are you in rush?
part of me wants to accelerate, but I'm also like it's been very interesting how whatever random pace that we go at, we tend to experience deeply the gene key that we're going through, like in the week prior or the 2 weeks prior. So in that sense, I'm like, I can't possibly rush this experience, nor do I want to take away from that synchronicity that tends to occur. But then also, like this is a mind trap of me saying, if we were called to accelerate, and who am I to say that it wouldn't continue to happen? It would just be at a much quicker evolution, a much quicker level. So
And when you say to accelerate, you mean you want to complete it.
yeah, Mike, let's go. um,
You want it done. You want this to be
yeah,
done.
but yeah, I'm like, why would I want to check a box? Like I have to, have to sit with that continually. Why do I desire so much? I think this is the only thing in my life that is, besides my marriage, that has probably continued for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I tend to like jump and move and
Same.
yeah.
Same. And you know, I think you and I both are going to feel the completion deeper, that it's just done when it feels done for
Mm-hmm.
both of us. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, this morning actually, I woke up and I was like, do I feel completed with this?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Because
I
you're so
felt
tired.
no, no, but rather than no, it was more like, is this where I want my energy to go?
Mm.
Is this where my energy wants to go? Depersonalize it. Or is this where I'm supposed to be? And then the moment I opened the book is the moment I got back to the space instantaneously. And I think because of the length of 2 years of us keep coming back to it, there's a layer of us that already learned how to come back to this space, which is also a very big part of not only ritual, but learning how to come back to what exploration feels like. And
Yeah.
each time we try to put the lid on it or a box or frame it, it kind of just pulls away from us rather than just allowing it space and our own evolution through this process. I think there's much more that we're gaining independently and
Yeah.
individually from this space, and I think it's gonna show its face much later. And whenever I feel that, I'm like, oh, okay. So what is 1 hour a week
Right.
for
Yeah.
such
I feel that too.
potential?
Yeah, I feel that too. We try to put boxes or labels on it and then it just blows up in front of our faces. And you and
So
I
cool.
both, like, I also had this reflection this week of like, am I supposed to keep doing these talks? Is this useful? Is this yeah, it's like why? Why am I questioning it now? But it's also good to like go there and check for alignment and clarity.
Totally. And to check after every time we meet, is it still a great time, right? So, and in Vita, we tend to check ourselves as coaches too, and there's only one way. It's like, is your energy depleted or are you filled up with
Mm-hmm.
energy?
Mm-hmm.
There's two ways to kind of assess, are you supposed to do that or not? And that's how I do it. And now I'm about to go and run a marathon. So to me, this is very valid just because now I have charged battery to
You're
take
gonna run
on
a
life.
marathon? today?
No.
Oh.
It's a metaphor that I have a
Oh.
lot to spend.
Gotcha.
I hate running.
Yeah, me too.
All right, buddy. Till next time, I guess.
All right. Have a great day and a great week.
You too. Ciao.
Bye.